video quality here. I'm not at my home studio, so unable to use my computer setup and everything on the phone instead. So I thought I would do a little stream this morning before I start my work day, talking about some of the fallout from the attempt on Trump yesterday, including some of the bigger streamers that I've interacted with and sort of what's occurring. This will be in tandem with my stream last night, and then I also called in to a left wing streamer show to talk for about 10 to 15 minutes as well. So we'll kind of just give my thoughts on what I see going on. It'll focus primarily on a left wing streamer that I've interacted with, who I actually have enjoyed my interactions with, named Destiny, and how I see him as just becoming totally unhinged after this attempt, probably because he sees this as politically harming the side that he wants to win the election. And so he's sort of exposing what he's really all about. And we're going to talk about some of the reactions and some things from him and just from a general perspective that I see that I think's worth mentioning. First thing I want to say is I had mentioned on my live stream yesterday, we have everything is on the table for what the motivation could be of this person, what the motivation or what the situation surrounding how he was able to achieve this, were there people behind him, are there cover-ups? Everything's on the table. That doesn't mean everything's equally as likely, but I know when these things happen, there's a rush to judgment. The story changes many times. Sometimes people say the story changes because it could be nefarious. Sometimes it's because just eyewitness accounts and firsthand stories aren't always reliable because emotions are so high. So let me give you an example, and this is something I said last night. I had said it is entirely possible that this shooter could be a left-wing Antifa person, could be a right-wing type Groyper person, could be a right-wing type Romney type voter that doesn't like Trump. It could be someone who's just politics had zero motivation, just someone who's schizophrenic. And I had mentioned there's only one person, I won't mention their name, who, if you were just someone who was an unhinged lunatic who wanted to make a name for yourself, there's only one person I think in the world today that would rival trying to harm as Donald Trump. So, I mean, if you wanted to make a name for yourself, this would definitely be a person that you would go after. Former president, front runner for president of the next election. Then there's serious questions about how this person was even able to get onto the roof, that the Secret Service is going to need to answer, because I'm reading a lot of people that are experts, expert snipers, and other such people that are saying this is incredibly bad. And so that could be incompetence, that it could be that it wasn't bad, that things were looking, whatever. I'm not really here at this point today to get into that stuff. I'm not surprised that the story coming about who the alleged shooter is in the position that we see, which is that it's not going to easily fit in any box. So apparently, what I'm seeing, and this is all open to being changed, he was a registered Republican, a 20-year-old who was a registered Republican, but donated to Act Blue when Joe Biden got inaugurated. Of course, it wouldn't be just something that's like a manifesto or something. If there was, does anyone think that the FBI, after withholding the Nashville Shooters Manifesto, does anyone think that the FBI, Secret Service, whatever, are going to be gung-ho to release a manifesto? Probably not. Hey, what's up, Big Berg? I saw your post, man. Thoughts and prayers to your family. I know you're from near the area like myself, so hope everyone's doing okay. So I'm going to say something that's not popular, and that I think almost everyone will hate. Even though it's not the best thing, I think trying to learn the details of the shooter and shoehorn it into your narrative is okay. It's expected. We're humans. It's not recommended, but I've talked about this before. When some terrible event happens, you can't help but feel, oh my God, I hope it's not someone that'll make my side look bad. That's human. It's not good. I fight against those impulses, but it is human. And if you're a Democrat or on the left yesterday, I asked this question, and I think anyone will admit this. The fact that there was an attempt on Trump's life and the way that he acted, his defiance, it's really going to boost Trump's numbers. It's going to help his chance. And that, your gut reaction to being a Democrat, even if you legitimately are like, this is terrible, of course I don't want Trump assassinated, your gut reaction is going to be to say, oh, this helps him. So as soon as you have anything to hold on to that's like, oh, wait, it's a Republican, you're going to say that. And I'm not here to say that makes you the shittiest person in the world. I'm not. And there are lefties out there that I've debated that are doing that this morning. And that's okay. I think it's a bit premature to talk about what we know about the shooter, but I don't blame people. There's a natural human curiosity. There is a natural bias that we all have. So you're not going to hear me sitting here saying, oh, now I'll argue strategically why I think it's nonsensical, because what I said was, I mean, assume for a second it's a right winger, like a Nikki Haley voter or a Paul Ryan fan or a Karl Rove fan, or Rupert Murdoch or something. Does it really change the story? No, because people on that side also believe that Trump is an unhinged lunatic and have believed this rhetoric. There's still a chance this wasn't political. I think it's a small one, but there's a chance. So it could come out just like the shooting of Congressman Gifford, that it was an unhinged lunatic. If that's the case, so be it. But it doesn't change the moment that Trump had. It doesn't change that innocent people died. It doesn't change that there was always going to be a good chance that something like this would happen because of the direction the country had been going, because the insanity of what's sort of being claimed. I've talked about this a lot. If you truly believe that Trump is Hitler, what would you be unwilling to do? So I just wanted to get that out there, because even me, I'm liking tweets, I'm retweeting stuff. I don't know the motivation. And I would be a bullshitter if I told you I know the motivation of the shooter. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't ever find out much. Thank you, Randy. I really appreciate the super chat. I wouldn't be surprised. I will talk at length about possible theories at some point of what's going on. But I don't know right now. No one does. So, let's get then to left-wing streamer Destiny. Now, Destiny is a bigger left-wing streamer who I think's been decent to me as far as our interactions. I enjoy debating him because I think he's a good debater. Plus, he has a big audience, which I enjoy debating in front of a big audience. I've debated him many times, including for the first time over 4 years ago, which will matter here in a second. He's making a lot of jokes. Now, I find the jokes to be in bad taste, but I'm not here to police humor. I'm all for jokes at the expense of people, particularly people you don't like. Maybe joking hours after an assassination attempt is not the right way to go. He has tweeted out and has said in an interview with Wick, for example, that he wished that the shooter had better aim. That the innocent person that died behind Trump basically was just a swing state Trump voter, so yay. That's particularly bad taste, given that maybe you could make an excuse for you just hate Trump. My criticisms of Destiny aren't about the jokes. I want to be clear about that. Do I think it's bad form? Yes. Would I do that? No. I wouldn't. I it's I just that's not who I am. Let's steelman this a little. Were there people that joked when Paul Pelosi got hit by a hammer? Yes. Now, is that on near the same level as this assassination attempt? No. But still, I didn't like that. I said that in my channel. I said, I'm sorry, I can't make light of the fact that a man was attacked with a hammer, even if all the rumors that people were saying were true, that this was a prostitute that he had paid. He was beaten with a hammer. So I understand that, and I understand there are shitty, like there's people that are just edgy on the left and right. There's shitty people on the left and right. You know, when Rand Paul was attacked, there's an awful lot of people that celebrated on the left, including people sort of from our media class. Again, I don't mind the people that are offended by it. I think it's offensive, particularly the tweets about the innocent person that was killed, but I don't give a shit. That's not what I think the worst part of what Destiny is doing is. Because he's going to at some point try to default back to this is all a joke. And a lot of that stuff is jokes, but not the central point. And the central point is this: I don't give a shit conservatives are radical. And that's sort of what he's been tweeting out. Trump's horrible. He led a coup. He led an insurrection. I don't have sympathy for him. It's his fault as far as driving the country off a cliff. He led an insurrection. That's what I take umbrage with. That's where you see that he's unhinged. Because here's the truth about that. In fact, let me compare myself to Destiny, and there's many people like him, though he is, the one I know that's a bigger streamer that I've seen making these comments. See, most people, when it comes to certain principles and values, rarely change throughout the course of their life. Maybe they change what they thought when they were 15 compared to what they're 25 to 40. But the rapidity in which Destiny changes these seemingly core beliefs and values is astonishing. For example, you can ask me, Rob, of all the political violence we've seen in the past 20 years, which of those have you accepted and said were worthwhile, and which of those have you condoned? What would the answer be? Anyone who follows me, what would the answer be? It's universal. It's universal. I say I condemn it. I'm against it all. When it's a right-winger, I condemn it. When January 6th, as it was occurring, I called out the people that were acting violent. I've since then, even though I think it's been blown out of proportion, even though I think that there were people that, such as Capital City Chief's son, that says he feels like this was allowed to occur, even though I think that there's a lot to look into with things like the pipe bomb, there were people that were Trump supporters that engaged in violence that deserve to be punished and deserve to be called out. I did that the day of January 6th, a half hour after the violence started. I was live condemning it. It's been unambiguous. I never made fun of Paul Pelosi getting hit by a hammer. I never made fun of any of the people like Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying. I didn't do any of that. Were there right-wingers that did that stuff? Sure. But I didn't. And I'm not going to use the fact that other people did that. Oh, well, certain people on the left did that. This left-wing streamer did that. So now I'll do it. So God forbid there's an attempt tomorrow on a Democrat, today on a Democrat. You're not going to see me being like, ha ha, they deserved it. I can say that because left-wing people did when it was happened to Trump. Who cares? Who cares that Trump did? And what's the relevance? Trump made fun of Paul Pelosi getting hit by a hammer. Okay, and Joe Biden made fun of Trump having to be moved to a bunker when violent left-wingers are coming at him. Is it the best thing in the world to do? No. I've criticized Trump for that shit. Trump shouldn't have been running on the promise of lock her up either. Here's the point. The people like Destiny that have cried and gnashed their teeth and for the past 2 years have said, Donald Trump's insurrection. He tried to overthrow the country. Oh my God. We must keep him from the levers of power. It's all performative. All performative. They didn't give a shit about that. Destiny didn't care about that shit. At all. All of the fucking crying and gnashing of teeth and talking real loud and fast, all bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Joe Biden made fun of Trump after he had to be moved to a bunker when violent left-wingers with Molotov cocktails attempted to break into the White House. Does that mean I think Joe Biden should be criminally investigated? No. Should he be kept off a ballot for that? No. Donald Trump said shitty things about Paul Pelosi. Should he be kept off a ballot? No. Should he be criminally investigated? No. I don't have to like it. But that's the standard that I have. The same for all of them. Not Destiny and those sorts of people. I said this last night on Wick's panel. Thanks, Kevin Magan. I do need a shower today. Pig, though. Find myself more to cow. People literally took Donald Trump saying, go peacefully protest, fight like hell. Oh, that's evidence that he incited an insurrection. He needs to be investigated for that. There are criminal investigations using him saying fight like hell as evidence that he somehow incited an insurrection. They tried to keep him off a ballot in part because of that as evidence. Why is the standard different with the Democrats? You know why. But that's not really the point that I'm trying to make here. The point is, I don't give a shit if you want to make fun of Trump or Trump supporters, even after an assassination attempt. Well, I might give a shit, but it's not the end of the world. I didn't give a shit, and it wasn't the end of the world that people wanted to make fun of Paul Pelosi. I called it out, but it wasn't the end of the world. To me, the bigger thing is, if you're going to be performative and talk about like, oh my God, like, for example, if you are a right-winger that's out there today or a MAGA person that's saying, oh my God, what a dark day, this is so ridiculous, they tried to assassinate the former president and the front runner for president next time. But then, God forbid, something like this happens to Joe Biden, and you're like, I don't think it's a big deal. Fuck off. Your outrage was performative. I don't care about the jokes and shit you tell. It's not the act of hypocrisy. That's one thing. It's that you made a big deal about political violence and shit, and you never cared. You never cared. That's the truth about Destiny. And it actually is a pattern. Remember how I said I was unambiguous in my condemnation? Thanks, I will, Sci Guy. I appreciate it. Thanks for $2. Says go in the Crucible soon. I will. 4 years ago in some odd months, I talked to Destiny on his stream for the first time. It's still up on Destiny's channel. We talked about a lot of things. This was in, I believe, May or June of 2020. I believe May. It was right after the George Floyd riots began. And you'll remember, I was talking to panel after panel and left-winger after left-winger, trying my best to get people to call out the violence. At the time, we were told it was mostly peaceful. I went on panel after panel. I got mocked over and over by people on the left that said, oh, what about ism, Rob? Also talk about some BLM violence. Ha ha ha. And I said over and over, I said, eventually there will be right-wing violence. And the same people downplaying this today will lose their fucking mind and say it's the biggest deal ever. That's what's going to happen. And that's exactly what happened with January 6th. January 6th, Charlottesville. That's the two incidents that you can name on the right. And the left has said those are seminal moments they lost their mind. So I was talking to Destiny. I'm shocked looking back. And even at the time, you could tell from the talk, I was shocked. It's some of the things Destiny said. While there are riots ongoing, Destiny says at one point that, thank you, Miles Kinslow, for $10. Hey, Rob, I think the left's going to discover that Trump was the dam rather than the river. Trump's probably moderate. People getting frustrated with the double standards, pendulum will swing. You're probably right. Destiny said, voting and rioting are two sides of the same coin. Destiny said that it is completely legitimate if you feel you're disenfranchised politically to commit acts of violence against government property, against government institutions. That's what he said. He said it's totally legitimate. Now, he's against January 6th, but he said that as long as you're not targeting private people like Black Lives Matter was, that it's totally legitimate. Really? I'm like, ooh, I think that's a bad standard. He says he absolutely thought that a lot of the violence that we saw with Black Lives Matter was legitimate. But wait a minute. I'm told that Destiny got kicked off Twitch for basically Rittenhouse stuff, defending Rittenhouse. True. I was on a panel with Destiny where he was defending Rittenhouse. But that doesn't take away from his initial point. His initial point, when seeing large amounts of violence, political violence from the left, was to say, I think this is legitimate. That's what he said. How can you change your mind 2 months later about something like that and go, actually, I never meant that? That doesn't sound to me like someone with strong core principles and beliefs. That sounds to me like someone looking for a hot take and then trying to justify whatever their take's going to be later. That's what it sounds like. And I understand someone says that's not why he's kicked off Twitch. Okay, fine. I don't know. That's what I'm told by Destiny supporters when I respond to Destiny, as I have many times, saying, dude, you said that the violence and the riots we saw after Floyd were justified. At least that attacked the police or government property. Oh, yeah, right. The same guy got kicked off Twitch for going too hard at the rioters. Yeah, right. Yeah, he did. And you ought to be asking yourself, why are you listening to the opinions of someone who so flippantly will go from, oh yeah, this violence is justified, to, well, I'm not so sure. But it gets worse. Now he's out there saying, oh, right-wingers have it coming. No sympathy. Trump incited an insurrection. Oh, the insurrection is blah, 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 blah. Remember when Destiny's first comments following January 6th were arguing with people like Pisco on his stream saying, come on, this clearly wasn't an insurrection. If they wanted to overthrow the government, they would have done way more. It was clearly just a riot that got out of hand. People were just walking around. Remember when he said that? Remember when he was on that same stream, the Rittenhouse stream with me, and he said the same thing? How could it be that in 2022, I'm on a panel with Destiny, and he's talking to radical left-wingers that are saying, January 6th insurrection, it was so bad, that he's saying, come on, you're blowing this out of proportion. And today, he is making excuses for an assassination attempt on Trump saying the January 6th insurrections, the violence on January 6th. What changed? What changed is that he saw political expediency in sticking up for Rittenhouse, which he probably believed. There's a kernel of that he believed. So he tailored his whole argument to that. And now he sees political expediency in attacking Trump, and so he tailors his whole argument to that. And it makes him a fucking clown, a caricature. It exposes him. He's an edgelord. Oh, look how edgy I am, making fun of Trump for getting shot and an innocent person for dying. Oh, conservatives have it coming. They're the real danger. They're the real threat. Fuck you. Not because you're joking around, not because you're saying those things. I don't even really give a shit. What I give a shit about is all of that bullshit you sold me and your entire audience about, oh, I'm so worried about January 6th. Oh, I'm so worried about Trump and violence from Trumpers, was all bullshit. You don't give a fuck about the violence, and you never have. Never cared. It was all performative. Then you go out there and you make a stupid tweet. Oh, one less swing state voter. And people call you out. Great for you. Engagement. Double down. Destiny's pretty edgy all the time. So, I don't care. That's why he's doing what he's doing now. That's what's going on. You want to be edgy? Fine. Is that the same shit he criticizes Hassan for? What do you say? Just go to the omni-liberal on X and see the litany of things. He said he wished the shooter had better aim. He said the innocent person was killed, basically made fun of him and said, good, that was one less Trump voter in a swing state. He said that Trump committed an insurrection and conservatives committed an insurrection, and he doesn't give a shit about all their whinging because they're the real violent people. He's been going on for like 6-7 hours, sort of responding to people. Remember when I said yesterday, I said it on Wick's channel too when I went over there. One, it's important not to do anything unhinged, right? I know if you're a right-winger and you're listening to me, you might be really pissed off, but it would be stupid to do anything unhinged. But take a moment before you put anything stupid on social media too. It's really dumb. That shit'll last forever. And you don't want to be tweeting stuff out or putting stuff on Facebook or making videos if your emotions are so high that it's going to cause you to say something that you may regret into the future. The irony of someone like Destiny saying, oh, right-wingers are whining about this because Trump got shot in an attempted assassination. Oh, this guy's made his whole fucking political argument in the past 2 years when he's talking about politics. Trump tried to overthrow the country. Violent MAGA, January 6th. I got to give props to Wick. I went on Wick's show. I didn't record it or anything, but I went on his show, and In Pursuit of Knowledge is on there. I forgot all about him. For some reason, I had him blocked on Discord. He sucks, whatever. He was being antagonistic. But my message was basically, everybody needs to calm down, don't use violence, don't do anything you'll regret. And then I made the point, which I think is a fair point, that the standards from our institutions are completely different when these things happen. When Trump says fight like hell, it's not just that Democrats say, oh, that's a call to violence. It's that they literally investigate him. They literally use that as evidence. That's the insane part. It's on Wick's channel. Wick said, well, can you admit that Biden wasn't calling for The assassination of Trump when he tweeted out, it's time to put a bullseye on Trump. Of course I can admit that. Like that. No problem. Yes, of course. Can you admit that Trump wasn't calling for a violent insurrection when he said fight like hell? Or retweeted the cavalry's coming? Most of them can't. Most of them are like, wow. Exactly. I see your comments, Roman King. Am I coping and seething? Is that what I'm doing? Is that what's going on? Even if I am, so what? I've been consistent. I didn't say some violence is okay. Show me once mocking someone like Paul Pelosi. Show me once mocking someone on the left that violence was directed to her. No. And I understand people like Dexter Gordon, probably a DGG or a Destiny fan, right? Who's got to make excuses and try to deflect. I get it. I get why you would want to do that when your guy's coming totally unhinged. But Wick was having a stream that was basically like, dude, there's no excuse for political violence, which to Wick's credit, I moderated a debate with him versus Andrew Wilson, where that was his entire argument then. Also, I do love this argument. Trump gets shot. One of the first things you see repeatedly, I've had this question, Haley Thrasher, what do you think about Project 2025? What do you think about that? What do you think about Project 2025? Trump got shot yesterday. What do you think about Project 2025? Project 2025 is literally Hitler. It's trying to overthrow. It's going to throw all gay people in prison. Project 2025, that's Trump's project. What do you think about that? It'll throw all gay people in prison. It'll literally get us into World War III. It'll make Trump God Emperor for life. What do you think of Project 2025? Project 2025? What do you think about that? And I understand the reframing of the question. I get that. I understand why you would want to do this, right? We're having a conversation in part about irresponsible rhetoric leading to violence, and so the doubling down of, but what about Project 2025? You know about Project 2025, right? It's Project 2025. Maybe I should just find some left-wing talking points and say, what about that? And you say, what's that have to do with Biden? Well, Democrats have said it. They've said it. What do you think about Chuck Schumer saying the goal is to give all citizens the right to, or all illegals the right path to citizenship, which will eventually lead them to voting? If Destiny wants to be an edgelord, are you denying the reality of Project 2025? Project 2025 exists. You know Project 2025 exists. Are you denying the reality? I know now who's coping and seething? Dexter Gordon, please acknowledge Project 20. Please don't deny the existence of Project 2025. Please. I know I'm defending my edgelord friend Destiny when he's talking about it's good that a swing state voter was killed. I know I'm doing it, but what about Project 2025? That's really serious. That's what I'm talking about these people. They don't give a shit. They don't care. The people that'll go on and, yay, we're going to tell edgy jokes and say right wingers have it coming and blah, 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 because they're so evil. When they're talking to you about, oh my God, I'm so scared. Some people made a document called Project 2025. Trump incited an insurrection. I'm so scared. I'm pissing my pants. When Destiny and Pisco are holding each other, embracing tightly with tears in their eyes, going, the Supreme Court said that Trump can assassinate his opponent. What will we do? No, no. Then as soon as there's an actual assassination attempt on Trump, meme lord. We're meme lording it now. Meme lord. Now we're meme lording. Oh, look at you coping and seething because Trump got shot. Oh, that's good. But Project 2025. What if it happens? That would be too much. That would be scary. Oh, Trump got shot. A Trump supporter got shot in a swing state. But please take us seriously when we talk about how threatened we feel. We can't sleep at night. It's okay, Dexter. You'll make it. Dexter Gordon, you'll make it. You'll make it, buddy. I understand. Go ahead, get the tears out. I get it. I get it. I understand. Yeah, that's right, Will. That was Destiny's original take on January 6th. It was just basically a frat party gone wrong. Then he realized it was politically expedient to make it into something that was odd. There, John Smith, I took a deep breath. Better? I'm not hyperventilating, I'm mocking you. I'm mocking Destiny, who's way more unhinged than I was there. But you're making an excellent point, and you're a good stand in for Destiny here, right? Destiny wails and gnashes his teeth about January 6th insurrection, and the Supreme Court said Trump could use SEAL Team 6. Sip Fox for $10 says Destiny's made his primary argument that Trump's a threat to democracy while demonstrating he doesn't care if the voters are denied their candidate or if unelected rule for Biden. Exactly. Yeah, John Smith, I'll be okay, man. Thank you, though. Destiny's consistently based, says Dexter Gordon earlier about Destiny making fun of a Trump supporter who was just killed, making fun of Trump getting shot, saying basically they had it coming, no sympathy for conservatives, right? Now, Dexter's going to say, when called out on it, oh, I don't really agree with Destiny much. I don't really agree with him much. Consistently based. And again, the point I'm trying to make is I don't give a shit. You can go ahead and make all the jokes you want. I care because Destiny was someone that I thought was a reasonable lefty that I could debate, even if I thought he was hyperbolic. But now it's shown that all of it was performative. He never gave a shit about democracy. He didn't give a shit about political violence. He never did. He understood that it benefited the side he wants to win to be hyperbolic and exaggerate. And then as soon as there is an undeniable act of violence against the other side's candidate, his gut reaction, his immediate reactions to fucking edgelord his way through it and then say that it's basically deserved because January 6th. No, not straw man. Straw man, straw man, straw man. Hey, you are a Destiny fan. Yeah, I would love to talk to Destiny about this. Now, I'm obviously, it'll be difficult to do so just on my phone until I get to my home computer, but I'll definitely talk to him about it if he wants. Imagine hinging your position on this wasn't a big deal yesterday because January 6th was an insurrection, when your initial take on January 6th was, it was just a riot that got slightly out of hand. And there's certainly a lot of people that are Destiny supporters that you can see from the chats that are like, based, good, Trump's a rapist, he deserves it. Trump tried to overthrow the country, he deserves it. Geez, I wonder where people would become extreme. Wonder where. And again, another thing is, he's basically gone after people like Hassan for the same type of shit. The joking's one thing. The sincerely believing, like, how is this any? Trump had this coming because January 6th. Because Project 2025. How unhinged to believe that. And they truly believe it. Trump called for the violence on January 6th. He did not. Destiny tweeted out, what about when Trump supporters were bashing in the heads of security on January 6th? Destiny's initial take after seeing the footage was, it was just a riot that got out of hand. I suspect Destiny will go to his stream today and say, listen, I'm clearly being hyperbolic, I'm clearly joking, but fuck these Trump supporters, blah, blah, blah. Are there Trump supporters that he has a point? If you're the type of person that was like, I hope that someone takes out Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden, and then you're gnashing your teeth when there's an assassination attempt on Trump, yeah, I guess there's a point to those people. But that doesn't justify him becoming what he's criticizing. I haven't. Yeah, perspectives change. How convenient. Left wingers are rioting. Black Lives Matter. He says this is justified. This is what America's about. That's what he says then. Then he changes his perspective to, oh, never mind. I'll go the total opposite once it realized that that politically doesn't help. Then his perspective was, yeah, I clearly see what was going on. If this was an attempt to overthrow the government, they would have done way more. Explain to me what changed that perspective. How did that change? And if Destiny was so certain at first that it wasn't really an attempt to overthrow the government January 6th, but now his perspective's changed somehow, so his original arguments don't apply, why is he then lumping in all conservatives that they must believe that January 6th was this violent overthrow of the government when he himself didn't believe it at first? So much so that he's saying, you have no right to say or to be upset about an attempted assassination attempt on Trump. I know what he said first, and he'll try to back it up, or walk it back. That's true. That's what I'm saying, Akbar. It's exactly what I'm saying, Scotty Mac. It's just frustrating. See you, William. Yeah, okay. I will say, just for a brief moment, the probably one of the most annoying groups is the, oh, well, there's two sides in the government and they're dividing us. Right, that's true, I guess. It's literally one of the most worthless comments you could have. It's always the case. You put, oh, the FBI legally spied on Trump. When will you just admit that it's dividing us, both sides, both sides? Right. It doesn't make you smart. It doesn't mean you're informed. It doesn't mean that you're adding anything to the conversation. You literally could say less. It's an empty platitude. That's exactly right. That's all it is. Go ahead, William. You could stay. It is a uniparty at the top levels, but the uniparty is Republicans and Democrats. The uniparty is not those that are in the uniparty and those that are without it. We've seen the uniparty go after Trump, for example, for 12 years now. When you bring up the corruption of many of those things, the lawfare, the illegal spying, etc., then you'll get big brains that say, but both sides do it, both sides do it. Don't get divided, don't get divided. It's just you're getting divided. Not like me. I don't get divided by stuff like that. I don't. Right. You don't talk about the specifics of what things are happening. I get it. So I think Destiny's exposing themselves as sort of an edge lord, which is fine. You want to tell the jokes, whatever. I'm not here to police your jokes. I think it's bad form, whatever. To me, though, what it shows is that all of his wailing and gnashing of his teeth for the past 2 years about January 6th and threats to democracy were performative. Just like so many other Democrats that didn't want to call out the violence when we saw the George Floyd riots occurring over and over and over, didn't want to call it out. It's mostly peaceful. Oh, why are you focused on just the bad? Didn't want to call it out. Then as soon as there's right-wing violence, it's the biggest thing in the world. Oh my God. Destiny just happens to be one of the biggest streamers in this space who's exhibiting that, but it's certainly an attitude that promulgates our mainstream media, our politics. Go back and see a pattern. I was writing about this back in 2012, 2013. Congressman Gifford gets shot. It was Sarah Palin's fault because she put out a political strategy document that had a crosshairs over the county on where Congressman Gifford got shot. And so Democrats said it's the rhetoric of the right. It's the rhetoric of Republicans that caused this. Bernie Sanders fundraised off it. Then a Bernie Sanders supporter shoots up Republicans at a ball field, nearly killing Steve Scalise. Did Democrats and the media say, hey, it's time to call out left-wing rhetoric? No. They said, we need to tone down all rhetoric. In fact, Nancy Pelosi was asked at a press conference, what do you say to people that are blaming Democrat rhetoric? How dare you? She said, how dare you? Really? Then the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting occurs. It's Trump's rhetoric, Trump's fault. Kavanaugh assassination attempt. Was it Schumer's fault for saying he'd reap the world? No. It was, well, we need to tamp down all rhetoric. Trump gets shot. What was the media's take last night? You had so many people in the media. Well, Trump shouldn't have said fight afterwards. He shouldn't have said that. That could, oh man. We need to tone down all the rhetoric. Tone it all down. So, important message is, stay safe out there. Don't do anything unhinged. Listen, there's nothing that anyone could do in any act of retribution or any sort of getting even that will help anything that is morally justified. It's not. Don't say anything on social media that's going to cost you your job or cost you your reputation or harm your family. You'll just have to go back and look. Go to his X feed, Honey Badger. So I don't care if you're a Democrat, if you're Republican. That's been my consistent message since I've been streaming. It's a weird thing. I talk about how much I despise some of these things that occur through Democrats, left-wingers, etc. But I can't bring myself to hate most people. And I have a lot of left-wing friends in real life that I have similar beliefs about, that I think they just are unhinged on many things. But I'm able to separate it. And I don't think that you need to remember your family is the most important thing. Your opinion of yourself and being able to look at yourself is the most important thing. We try our best. We do. But don't. I understand this is tough. Don't do anything unhinged. Don't even say anything unhinged. You'll regret it. And I guess the reason I wanted to talk about Destiny is because I'm sort of embarrassed for him. I really am. I'm kind of ashamed. He's someone that I defended as someone that even if I didn't agree with, I thought he was a decent person. And I really enjoyed interacting with him. And so just like someone like Pisco, who let me down when he was so blatantly willing to lie about the Jabal Bowman thing, and people don't get it. Why did you focus on that so much? For those who don't know, Pisco was this left-wing lawyer I loved debating. He was my favorite person to debate. I really thought he was, even though I thought he was bad faith in the sense that he was so biased it allowed him to impair his judgment to the point of ridiculousness, I still thought he was someone I really liked interacting with. I still don't wish him ill, by the way. I don't wish Destiny ill. But when this Jabal Bowman pulled this fire alarm, finally, it's part of my argument, which is the two-tier justice system. I was like, look, at the very least, we know he lied to law enforcement, right? And Pisco had admitted as such, that there's no chance that he didn't know the alarm would go off. Pisco admitted it. And so when he told law enforcement he didn't intend for the alarm to go off, that's a clear lie. And Pisco said, well, no, because I assume he meant he did intend for the alarm to go off. That was Pisco's argument. And it's not a big deal. It's one little argument and one little topic. And, it's not the end of the world. But to me, what that signified is someone that I really enjoyed interacting with is gone to the point where it makes any meaningful conversation with that person irrelevant. Because when confronted with indisputable facts, he'll just say, actually, the words mean the opposite. When he said I didn't intend, he meant I did intend. And it's disappointing to me because it's someone that I really enjoyed interacting with. That's how I feel today about Destiny. That's how I feel. Now, this is a different level. And that could be true, Tim Lugowski. And listen, I want to be clear. I'm not friends with Destiny. I've never met him. I've never met any of the people that I stream with online. So I'm not claiming to be friends with them. But I thought I was on friendly terms with him. And I don't wish him ill. And it could entirely be possible that he's going through a lot of pressure because he's been doing a lot of high-profile stuff. That's entirely true. But all I could do is treat what he's saying as him having agency to say it. I can't sit here and be like, well, let me make excuses because maybe he's going through this. I can't do that. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what I think, Odilon, that he's edgelording it up. So, all right, stay safe out there, everyone. I don't know when I'll be streaming again, but again, don't get unhinged. That's the most important thing. Speculate all you want. I don't care. Make jokes if you want, but my God, be careful. It might come back to bite you in the ass. Go ahead, ASD. I'll riddle you one before I go. Probably gonna be some troll comment, but that's fine. Why are Republicans trying to take out Trump? I assume you mean because allegedly the named attempted assassin, was registered as a Republican. Well, two things. Just because he's registered as a Republican means nothing. Doesn't mean that he wasn't a radical left-winger. It doesn't. But let's say he was. He could have done so just because he's schizophrenic. He could have done so because he thought Trump let him down. He could have done so because the truth is many people at the top level of the Republicans want Trump taken out. I don't mean assassinated, but want him removed. So there's any litany of reasons. So, boo-hoo, Destiny this, Destiny that, cry more, says the Marshmallow Midget. Boo-hoo, Rob said something about Destiny. I'll accuse him of crying because my tears and I'm really sad. Thanks, Marshmallow Midget. Living up to your name. So, all right. You guys all take it easy. I don't know when I'll be streaming again. We'll see y'all soon. As always, have a good one.